right. Hey, everybody. So I'm doing this to kind of go on the download and go quiet and talk about the new release, huh? Bitter Aries, less than 3 weeks away from the launch of this series. I'm so pumped. What I have in my hands is the author proof copy of Bitter Aries. And I've got a special announcement at the end of this about this. But what I wanted to do is what I do every single time is just kind of give a quick excerpt about from the book to give you an idea of what it's about. Essentially, Bitter Aries is all about Ezekiel Sunstone, hell's only demon ever to not have magical abilities. And everybody else does. And he's sent on a mission to the overworld, to Earth, to Seattle, whoop, whoop, Washington State, to capture one of the most powerful demons alive. No problem. No magic, no problem, right? So, I wanted to give you a little taste and then talk about this giveaway that's going to happen for this copy of Bitter Aries. So, here we go. Excerpt from Bitter Aries. The line between angels and demons is fine. The council, dressed in formal black robes with red embroidery around the cuffs and collar, I wore my button up and khakis, the nicest outfit I own. The image of my mother begging me to upgrade my attire floated in the back of my mind. But hey, clothes aren't free, except for demons who possess construction magic and who have all the materials to make outfits, much of which is readily available, isn't available outside of Gluttony Square in the third circle, hell's finest retail center. Even I was uncomfortable about my, and I rarely care about what I look like, which probably explains why I've been single for the past 1,000 years, and the only girlfriend I ever had was more interested or was more into me out of curiosity than anything else. Once she figured out how boring having no abilities was, she bounced. At least I'd comb my normally shaggy black hair. The council should be proud, or should be honored, not proud. No, I did not ask if that was the case. Hi, sirs and ma'am, I said after a while when none of them spoke. 5 faces, all focused on me, 5 unreadable expressions. So much for breaking the ice. Then Michael turned his gaze down the length of the table to take in his peers. Shall we begin? Foreheads bobbed in agreement. We imagine you're curious why you've been called here. Michael cupped his hands. Yeah, I guess, I said, trying to ignore the tingle inside my skull. You guess? Seraph raised a blonde eyebrow. The room seemed to grow colder once she spoke. The only female counsel, she sat straight and tall, half tempted to take a step or two to the side to validate the rumors that her wings had not yet dissolved as Michael's had. I thought better of my actions. The council member validated my decision by inching her already raised eyebrow further toward her golden hairline as if she could read my thoughts. Wings unconfirmed? The horror was immediate. What if they could read my thoughts? All of them were ancients, founders, the first generation of angels who were the most powerful except for Lucifer. It wasn't beyond reason to think that they had that kind of power. If they knew what I was thinking, they said nothing. My parents claim they didn't know anything, I said. I tried, trust me. To be called to the council is something demons like me aren't used to, so it's a little overwhelming. Understandable, Michael said. Then let's help clear the picture so you can understand. If you were ready for us to begin, Beelzebub, would you do the honor? The large demon to Michael's left nodded. Calling him large was an insult. He was massive, with round shoulders that looked like small boulders. His thick biceps pushed against the material of his robe, showing an impressive level of definition. His head was shaved, save for wide blonde sideburns that stood out against his dark skin. When he spoke, his voice rumbled down the length of the room. Ezekiel Sunstone, we, the council, have selected you to conduct an important mission in the overworld. On a disbelieving laugh burst from me. What I would have given to shove it back in my mouth, but it was too late. It happened. So I felt I needed to justify it with a question that had been burning on my lips since the news first came. Are you really sending me to the overworld? My throat felt raw. Beelzebub's jaw tightened. If you wouldn't interrupt, I'd appreciate it, boy. I pinched my lips in an apologetic grimace. As I was saying, Beelzebub eyed me. We have chosen you to conduct an operation, one of great import, time sensitivity, and discretion. He stopped. I waited. No one spoke. No way in all the underworld was I going to speak out of turn again. If this turned into a test of the wills like some twisted initiation, someone would be very disappointed. Okay, the word came out within seconds. And I recognized the disappointment was named Ezekiel. I couldn't even brag about putting up a good fight. You're to go to the overworld to conduct a search, Apophis said, a distinct elongated S remnant to his words. He wore his black hair slicked down and back, reminding me very much of the way my father wore his. Apophis had a thin face that hinted of a vegan diet, and his skin was pale enough that I figured he didn't go outside to enjoy the hellfire too often. The entire left side of his face, from chin to his ear and up to his hairline, was tattooed in a blue inscription I could not read. For what? Not for what, but who? Azazel shifted forward, almost poking the jade table with his long white goatee formed to a point sharp enough to do serious damage on a demon or inanimate object. The hair on his head, unlike his high ivory goatee, was a mixture of gray and faded orange, and his light freckles spotted his aged skin. We need you to seek someone, one of our own. Michael snapped his fingers, and a three-dimensional image of an old incubus floated in the space between us. As it spun slowly, I made out more detail. His alabaster hair reached to his waist. Skeletal, his stance was angled, as if his head pulled him down and he lacked the strength to fight it any longer. When the image rotated to face me, I stared into eyes so blue they reminded me of the horrific images of hell's icy landscape from our school textbooks. I stepped back. Saraf snickered, a sexy sound coming from an older converted succubus. Don't worry, that's just a projection. Nothing to fear. This demon is in the overworld. He is who you will find. Who is he? Michael stood and came around the table to stand next to the floating image. The table had hid Michael's true height, well groomed and handsome, his strong cheekbones rising above his short trimmed beard. The hair on my arms rose when he neared. Tucking his hands into his robe sleeves, he dipped his head toward the image. That's Aries the First. The first of his name? A major demon? Not only are you going to find him, but we want you to bring him back to the underworld. All right. So there you have it. Quick little excerpt, like I said, from Bitter Aries. Again, if you're looking for some fun adventure with a little bit of snarky comments and comedy throughout, urban fantasy, think Jim Butcher Dresden Files mixed with some Christopher Moore sense of humor. Bitter Aries is for you. The first three books in the series are already available for pre-order, so I will put that link in the comments so to make sure that you have access to that. If you want a copy of Bitter Aries, hypothetically, let's just say an author proof copy, one that is filled with all sorts of neat little notes from the author themselves, that is a one of a kind feature. Nobody else is going to get this kind of insight. All you have to do, grab a copy of Bitter Aries for yourself, leave a rating and review on Amazon or Goodreads. Those are the two places I'm going to check. And on August 1st, so giving everybody a month to go through the book, on August 1st, I'm going to pick one lucky winner and send this off to them so they have all the neat little behind the scenes stuff about Bitter Aries. Again, I will put the links down in the notes so that you have access to that. All three of the first three books are available. I want to thank you for joining me for this excerpt, and I hope you will join me on Ezekiel's adventures. Take care and keep being epic.